morning, Dan.
Good morning,
Pleasure
Chris.
to see you. This is Dan Cooley. He is a location manager, and we are going to just kind of talk about the industry and your job and your life and kind of how that all works together.
Yeah, man. Let's rap about it.
Right on. So, how long have you been in the industry?
I have been doing locations 18 years. And I never PA'd. I never did anything else. I went had my first gig while I was just finishing up college. And one of my fraternity brothers from college, I went to college in Vermont, and he's a couple years older than me in a fraternity. His dad was a location manager who became a producer and ended up producing Bad Lieutenant, Harvey Keitel, and one of the terrible Batman movies towards the end. And we went to dinner one night. He came back to school, took us out to dinner, and we sat at dinner, and we just started having a conversation about film. And I was a communications major. I was going to school to be a journalist.
Wow.
And I had just gotten back from doing a semester abroad in London for 6 months. And we're sitting at dinner, and we're just talking about writers and directors and producers. And he said to me, "Are you sure you're not a film student?" I said, "No, I'm not a film student. I just like film." So he said, "Well, do you want to do an internship?" And I said, "I just did a semester abroad for 6 months. There's no way any of my professors are going to let me skip out again."
Why not? Yeah.
So he said, I'll write him a letter. So he wrote everybody a letter, and the only professor that failed me was geology.
Yeah.
So I figured, it's just rocks. And that was it. I went to New York, and we did a terrible B-rated horror movie with Eric Roberts, and it was like my first job was picking him up at JFK at the airport and taking him to the Black United Fund mansion in East Orange, New Jersey.
Wow.
And that was my first gig, and it was pretty much, I just kind of fell in love with the lifestyle, because it is a lifestyle.
Definitely a lifestyle.
And that's one of the things I liked about journalism was you're not just sitting in an office 9 to 5.
Yeah. How long were you in New York doing that, and then what made you decide to come out to California?
Sure. So I was in New York for just about 7 years.
Wow.
And I loved it. I mean, I feel like there's a piece of my heart still in New York. There's an energy there, especially when it comes to filming on the streets, and the people and the attitude that you can't really duplicate.
Yeah.
That city is 100% authentic. But it's like you also get tired of having to line up a snowplow to park trucks in the wintertime at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And it's just it's very difficult, and it's become even more difficult. We went back there to do some filming on this last Apple show that we did, and it was a nice reminder of what I miss about it and what I don't miss about it.
Yeah.
And I came out to California because it's a classic love story. Met a girl in New York. She was doing event planning, and we didn't have locations services out there at that time.
Yeah. So
you would have to call, get creative and call an event planning company and say, "Hey, we're looking for a warehouse. You throw any cool warehouse parties?" Yeah, it's like, "Oh yeah, we did something for Grey Goose." Like, "Oh, you did? Where'd you do it?" So it was like that type of thing where you have to, just play detective.
Yeah.
And it's like this wasn't like the time when everybody was like, "Oh, let's just Google it. We'll just Google it. No problem.
It didn't exist back then, yeah.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't a resource that everyone just used every day like we do now. And we didn't have smartphones. It was like you had to kind of plan your day in the morning and then go scout and go figure out, how it was going to unfold.
Yeah, make sure you had film for your camera and
So she was from California, and we ended up deciding we lived in a third story walk up in Brooklyn, and she was pregnant and a baby was due in November, and we were going, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. So we moved out to California.
That's great.
And I got really lucky coming out here. Like the first job I had in California, the first movie I got was Milk.
The Harvey,
Sean Penn, Josh Brolin, Harvey Milk story. And what a cool thing to be a part of in San Francisco, right? Like a true story that means so much to a community, a city, you know, the people there. And that was literally the first thing I did.
Wow.
The way the union works there, it was the local 85 at the time.
Okay.
And they just have 2 location managers sign your name and you're in the union. Congratulations, you're in the union.
Nice.
So when I started coming down to LA, I still had to get days, but they just transferred me over.
You're kind of the anomaly. A lot of times the location manager will pick one thing, like I'm a feature guy, I'm a commercial guy, I'm a TV guy, and you've done commercials, you've done TV and feature films. So how's that, what's the difference between a TV show compared to a feature film on a workload wise?
Absolutely, and I always laugh when I hear people say, oh, well, I do features, or I do this, and I'm like, well, I would like to think I could do everything because, you know, you want to be able to be diverse, and also it mixes it up too, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it kind of keeps it exciting to a certain extent. And I don't think I could do TV nonstop all the time because the difference is that TV's a grind. You're essentially doing the same work because the television medium now with Netflix, Apple, you know, Disney buying Fox and acquiring FX, which is what, you know, we've been doing now with our last couple shows.
Yeah.
The stakes are higher. The content is much better. There's a lot more money going into it from a budget perspective.
Oh, yeah.
So TV has like raised the bar and everything looks great. I mean, there's so many great shows out there, but you're still working in a television time frame.
Yeah, you're basically doing a 1-hour movie every week.
That's right.
Or every 2 weeks.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the difference is it's a grind.
Yeah.
You know, like when we do features, I mean, I was in San Francisco for 7 months.
Wow.
Doing Ant-Man and the Wasp, you know, a year and a half, 2 years ago. We had second unit, we had to plan a big car chase out there, but we had several months with a team of 10 people to get together a car chase. And it was complicated and it's difficult, but it's kind of one big sequence that we're doing. It's not having to constantly find this apartment, this house, that
next
hotel,
episode we need
right,
this,
that office space, right? But we have time for that. And then they leave and they go back to stages in Atlanta and pick up some other location work there. And we get another couple months to plan our first unit stuff.
Yeah.
And it might be big pieces like closing down Pier 39 and stuff like that, but you've got time and you've got money and you've got resources. And that's the difference, is that you have a chance to really do things right, because with time and money, you can pretty much do anything. And that for me is the biggest difference between, you know, television and film. And that's why I try to go back and forth between the two, because it's nice to have a change of pace. But it's also nice to stay in town.